Welcome, boardwalkers, to my art studio. I'm CB Mac, and on this channel you'll find tutorials about plein air painting with watercolor, gouache, ink, graphite, charcoal, and colored pencils. I also do art supply reviews. In today's video, I thought we'd get started on making those watercolor brushes, paintbrushes, with the river cane that we harvested last week. So let's get started. And we're going to grab this bamboo that I've had sitting here, the bamboo river reed that I've had sitting here to dry. And we're going to take it over to this table here. And let me get this tripod set up for us so that we can get started. Move it out so we can see better. All right, basically what we're going to do is we're going to make handles. We're going to make handles right at each little section here. We just got to finish pulling off all these strands of bamboo, reed. Just pull those off, and I'm going to toss those off my porch over here into the tree here, where they can naturally decompose. Do some compost for my willow tree over here. Those are tough. We're just going to take and harvest them all the way down. Now, most people would think, well, those are awful tiny. There's no way you could put any hair or anything on these. And yes, you're probably right. But what I could do when I cut off this end is make this into a texture brush for us to work with. This is a real thin brush. What I could do is I could take it and I could I could sit here and cut it into little bitty pieces. And have me a nice textured splayed brush. I'm going to have to wait until these are a little bit more dry, but that will make a nice little textured brush. Go ahead and cut that right about there. And then I have a cute little brush, texture brush. Now I like to make my paint brushes, watercolor brushes, about that 2 or 3 sections tall. And I like to make them about the same. So this one's going to be a little bit shorter. It'll be here at this notch. Oh, come on, cut. Sometimes you'll have it where it'll splay. But as you see, we've got some really good holes so that we can put our hair in there. which I'll explain how we do that in just a moment once we get all these cut. Now, if you see, this one I'm going to have to take a drill bit to finish doing. And now the brushes are getting a little bit bigger. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start taking just individual sections of the river cane. Now we're back to a hole again, so this one will be a nice one to make a brush with. I won't have to do drilling on it. And it's a blunt end on the end, but it's got the hole on the other end, so I can put the hair into that side. This one, this end is pretty hard, but this end over here is started, so I might drill that end. These littler ones, I won't be drilling holes in, but I will be wrapping the hair around it. So let me just finish cutting these up. All right, and then this one is probably my longest handled one. And since this end is blunt here and this side here has got the hole, we'll probably use that for our paintbrush. So now I've got 2, 4, 6, I've got 8. Well, let me grab this one over here. I've got 9 handles for a paintbrush of different sizes that I can make out of this bamboo river cane. We're going to let these dry for a couple of days more, and then I will show you how we put the hair on the brushes. Okay, as you can see, it's been a couple of days, and I have the table set up today with the supplies for us to take and make paintbrushes like these out of the river reed that we cut last week, these green pieces and that. And what I'm going to do is show you how I make them into brushes. We've got the green reed, river reed that we harvested last week. We've got a pair of scissors. I've got some of my paintbrushes that I use to show you how the size I determine. I've got some Scotch tape. I've got a Band-Aid container that I use that has string on it to tie the brushes if I need to tie the hair to the brushes. I've got some old straw to help hold it in place. I've got a package of elastic bands in here that I use to hold the hair in place and glue it in. And then this is the bag of hair that I have. And then I use Modge Podge glue or any wood-based glue. And this is my stash that's left of handles, wooden handles for brushes from the river cane that I harvested 4 years ago. This is what's left. These brushes were made 4 years ago. And so in just a minute I'll show you how we attach this special hair that I have for the brushes. But let me take a minute to ask you that if you're enjoying this video, could I ask you to hit the like button, the thumbs up button? Share this video with others who you think might enjoy this video. And please subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so that you can get notifications of my upcoming videos. It really means a lot to my channel, and it supports my channel and makes a really huge difference. I'd like to say thank you to the 26 supporters that I have so far, subscribers that I have so far since my last video. I really appreciate each and every one of you. All right. Oh, and I also have a drill bit here and an electric drill, battery operated drill with a 1164 drill bit. You want to make sure that you get a drill bit that will do wood. Now, one of these, I'm not sure which one, does not have the hole in it. Ah, this one. As you can see, the rest of these all have holes in the end. And I even did the hole in this one. You need to be really careful when you do them. I would not do them any smaller than this. Brushes like this, you can go ahead and wrap the hair around the outside of the brush. But to do this, you get 11/16. This one's already started. It doesn't take much to drill the hole into the bamboo. You want it in as far as this will go. And that will drill you a nice size hole for your brushes. Now today I'm not going to make brushes out of all these pieces of bamboo, river cane. But I am going to make one or two. Here's the brush that we made last time when we harvested this. And what I normally do with this one is I would take some tape and wrap it around this to reinforce this. To reinforce these ends. And then what I would do is take a little bit of this string, cut off a bit, as much as I think I'm going to need. And this cotton string, I get and recycle my cotton string from a dog food and from my birdseed bags. If you notice right here how it's tied up here, and you just pull it apart. I take a piece of tape and I tape it on the end, and then I just take it and rewind my string and wrap it around it. So this makes a nice dispenser to hold my string for any kind of projects I need. It's an added little extra tip for you. All right, what I like to do on these to wrap them, I like to take and make a loop on it. Like when you're doing crochet, you make that starting loop. Oh, come on, get on there. the starting loop, and then I can just take this and loop that through. And then pull that tight. And then I can just start wrapping it around. And then what I'm going to do is open up my Modge Podge. And this has not been used in a while, so it's going to be really messy and dried up. But there's just enough on this lid that I can take it and just put a little bit across the bottom of this. Ooh, that's a bit much. And just run it across this. Set that in there so that doesn't fall. And then I can continue with just twisting that around. Cut a little bit of a tab, because what I'm going to do is tie a knot at the end by looping that around. Get my skewer here to help pull that string through. And tie that down. And just tie that down. Like so. And then put some more glue on this. And rub that around. And what this is going to do is it's going to glue down. And then it'll stay and keep. And then I can use this as a nice textured brush. Get some nice marks on it, on my paper. And I'll show you guys next week how these brushes perform in my next video. But right now, we've got a textured brush to go with my other brushes over here. Now, what special hair do I get? Where do I get my hair for my paintbrushes, you ask? I have a sustainable source where I know where the hair comes from. I know that hair on brushes is a controversial topic for artists, because we all want to be mindful of how the hair is processed and that no animals or anything are harmed. Oop, and I'm losing hair already. But this hair has come from my own head. So this is my own hair. And as you can see, I've got it. When I get my hair cut, I have my daughter trim my hair. And we put it in a elastic band, and I try to keep it tight. It's loosened up some since it's dried. But then what I will do is I will grab some hair and pull it out. And this is the issue with this, is that when you pull hair out, you have to be mindful of how you're pulling it. Because once it pulls out in bunches, it's hard to use. Sometimes it's better for me to pull from down here. So, but I'm going to put my stash of hair. I usually do this every 4 years or so. Have them cut some hair, and I save it to make my paintbrushes. I originally made these original paintbrushes because I wanted to see if I could make the brush before I started even painting with watercolor. All right. We're gonna just dispose of that off my porch here. And what I'm going to do is try and keep these straight. I like to take a piece of tape. Let me move some of these handles over. Let's see, I think I'm going to try this big one today. Or maybe maybe this small one here. Set these over here off the table for a minute. And what I do, come on, sit down there. There we go. All right, and what I do is I take the ends of my hair and try to get them as even as possible. And this may take a couple of tries. And brush it out. And get it as straight as I can get it. It's turning out to be really messy, isn't it? Okay, come on, stick on there. Work with me here. We're going to trim this off. Trim that off and get those as flat as we can get them. And then line them up on my tape here. And pull out the loose hairs that aren't attached. Now, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this over on itself and roll it up as tight as I can get it. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a elastic band on this and then insert this into my I have these clear elastic or these black elastic, just the elastic little hair bands that I use. And we're just going to take that and wrap it around it. And keep wrapping it around it as tight as we can. So that we can get it secure enough. There. And then finish combing it out. And yes, you're going to lose quite a bit of hair, but it's okay because it's my hair. It didn't cost us anything. And there we have a nice chunk of hair for our brush. And then we're going to take this hole and we're going to put it in our brush to check it to see how it will hold up and how far it will fit. And that's going to be really snug. So what I need to do is I'm going to mark it right here and put another elastic band on. Because this elastic bands are going to help hold that in there. Give it something to stick with, to adhere on the inside there. Give it a little friction to keep it from pulling out. And then we're going to trim that again. All right, now what I'm going to do is grab some glue, put the glue in the brush, and let it just run down in the brush. This and rub it on here. All right. And we're just going to stick it right in. Push it down in there until it stops. Until we want it to. All right, and there we have one paintbrush ready to dry. And then we can trim it when it dries. And it takes about a week. I give it a week for them to dry really good and solid. I'm going to show you these that I made last year, 4 years ago. Let me clear up this glue a bit. And put this lid on real quick so that my glue doesn't dry. All right, and let me show you what these brushes look like. These were made 4 years ago. This is my mop brush. I did the same thing with it, and I split the cane a bit, so that's why I have the rope around the end of this, but then you can see it's glued in there. It's not gonna come out. But this is my mop. I use that for my mop. This is another big brush, about the size, it's about the same thickness as this number 12, but it's got a really good handle. I have arthritis, so this is really nice to paint with when I want to paint big paintings. This one's about the same size. These are all about the same size as the 12. This one is about the size of my number 8 round Princeton Aqua Elite. This was my number 12 Princeton Neptune. This one is the same size as my, so they're all about the size of a number 12, most of them. And the handles are extra large. Once they dry out, they're even stronger. They got a little more grip on them because they dry with the little ridges on them. And then I have this little one, which is about the size. This one is much smaller than my number 8. And this is what I use as a liner brush for my homemade brushes. But I just thought it was going to be fun and interesting to try and make my own brushes. These are not as good as my professionally bought brushes, professionally made brushes. But it's a cute, nice little project, fun project to try. So, these I've already got shaped to the way that I want. This one's pretty much shaped the way I want. But to shape them, you just take and trim them with a good pair of scissors. You can make them into a round brush by just trimming. And it does take a while to trim them. But there you have it, a nice little round tipped brush. If you look at this one, if you flay it, you can see how it's got that nice little edge to it. So you can figure out how to trim your brush. If you do the same thing with your brushes here, just flatten them out and then just take and trim them. And you can have your own fun little set, homemade watercolor brushes. So, I think next week what I will do is I will come up with something to use to paint, an idea for us to paint, and show you how I use and how well these paint in our video next week. So, please feel free to post a comment or ask me any questions below about my brushes, about how to make them. I will read each and every comment. Although I can't reply to each one, I will try to answer every question if it gets posted, if you post one. You can also follow me on Facebook and Instagram on the links below in my video description. And I will have probably some affiliated links for these 3 brushes, the number 8 round Princeton Aqua Elite, the number 12 round Princeton Neptune, and the 3/4 square wash Princeton Neptune brushes. These are my 3 most used brushes besides my rigger brush that I use that I don't have here with me. I believe it's a Winsor Newton rigger brush, and I'm not sure what number that is. But I will have affiliated links in the bottom. What that means is that I will be awarded a small commission for purchases made through those affiliated links at no additional cost to you from Amazon. So look forward to seeing you guys next week when we learn how to paint with these brushes. Goodbye for now.